Welcome to Luxury Leaders, where we tap into the top minds of the luxury segment of the hospitality industry. I'm your host, Brandon Stone. Today's guest is Pradeep Ramen, the managing director of the Surrey Hotel opening up this summer in New York City with Corinthia Hotels. Thank you for being on the show, Pradeep. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you, Brandon. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate the time and looking forward to our conversations.
Pradeep, tell me how you've gotten to where you are today. Walk me through that story of your professional life.
So, Brandon, over the course of my career, I've had the unique pleasure of working with some of the best brands in the luxury industry, namely the Ritz-Carlton Hotels, the Peninsula Hotels, the Montage Hotels and Resorts, the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas. I launched an independent brand called Topping Rose House in Hamptons, where the entrepreneurial spirit in me came out. And most recently, I was with the Baccarat Hotels, managing the Baccarat here in New York and residences. And since then, I joined the Corinthia Hotel group back in May of 2023. So it's taken me all of about 25 years to get to the Corinthia, but I'm so glad that I found my new home. And I'm extremely excited about launching the Surrey Corinthia Hotel.
How did you find Corinthia Hotels? Or did they find you?
It's a great question, Brandon, but I've been following the Corinthia's paths for many, many years. Uh, Obviously, I've had a lot of family and friends stay at the property in London. And what really stuck out to me in getting to know the company, reading about it, was the people. I believe that, hospitality industry is an industry, or for that matter, any industry, where it's people working with people. And I felt like this was a company that was steeped in culture. There was that element of pride. And I felt like it's a company that I could really relate to. And given the growth trajectory and launching the brand here in New York City and making it the flagship hotel in North America was very compelling. And that really helped me make that decision. And the feelings were mutual between the Corinthia Hotels and myself. And we both felt like this would be an ideal match. And that's what made me join the company.
Had you opened a hotel before?
I have indeed, yes. Launched the Topping Rose House in the Hamptons. I've been part of numerous openings with the Ritz-Carlton hotels. I believe there were about four to five hotels that I opened with them. But I would also like to say that when I reopened the Baccarat, it was right after during the pandemic. So in a way, it was a opening as well because everybody else was closed, and we made the decision to open the hotel. During the peak of the pandemic. So I would consider that as an opening as well.
Got it. And what's the most exciting thing about starting a brand new, venture like this, as opposed to coming to where, a lot of things are already in play?
It's the adrenaline that you're having in launching something new and unique because your mind and body is racing at 300 miles per hour. It's like you feel like a Formula One driver, right? You're going at this massive pace, and you just feel like you want to bring this to life, and you want to bring this brand or you want to bring this hotel out there, and you want guests and the local community to come and experience it, support it. And you take satisfaction from the fact that you worked extremely hard and diligently in planning meticulously, leading up to the opening. And then the joy of having that first guest walk through your doors with a smile and feel that sense of luxury and the accomplishment. So, what makes you feel as an operator? It makes me feel the sense of pride, relief that we've opened, but it's also the fact that we've accomplished something very unique. Is that you've given life to a building that has been in the planning stages for many years, and you finally made it. So to me, for a hotelier opening a hotel, if I could quantify it, it would be like, say, winning the premiership, or like in America, you would say winning the Super Bowl, or it could be like climbing the peak of Mount Everest, where you feel like you're there, and finally you could see it all working together and coming together. So to me, that's excitement, which is so indelible, that once you have to be there to experience it, feel it, and then you're there to really extend that passion and that gratitude to the community, to the guests, and more importantly, to your colleagues who've been with you through the process.
And how do you go about finding those colleagues and building that team from scratch and putting your thumbprint on them?
Well, it's a very good question, Brandon. Thank you for asking that. Going back to what I said, it's people working with people. So you want to have a vision that the company has, the owners have, and me as a managing director that I have. And then you want to find colleagues, and you want to really dig deep and find the right caliber of candidates that have the right competency and that have the right attitude. I think hospitality to me is all about having the attitude to serve, and the attitude to please, and the attitude to be present, and very importantly, be very humble and staying true to your word. So you want to find the right balance, who can actually complement me in this case on everything that I think we need to be doing. Hire them for their attitude and for their expertise, and then let them run with it. Because obviously, if they're in certain positions, they are very competent and they're very good at what they do. And the mindset we have is, I would want my team members to come in and do what they excel at doing, which is to organize their areas and to build an incredible support system around them, similar to what I'm building around me, create the right policies and procedures, and have the right attitude. Because I feel like we're not in the robotics business, we are in the hospitality business. So it's about working with moods, with emotions, working with the right mindset, having a great sense of humor, which I think is so crucial in this industry, because again, it goes back to people working with people. So you need to bring that humanness out in you to be able to have the right balance. So those are certain key things that I see. And obviously the willingness to do what it takes, because it's not an easy business. Openings are never easy, but it can be made fun. It can be made amazing by having individuals who are resourceful, who are competent, who are accountable, and who share a common vision and a common purpose.
You talked about serving others. Where did that desire to serve others come in your past? Was it something you developed since childhood, or because it's a special person it takes to have your life focused on serving other people?
Yes. Look, I go back to my childhood. Brandon, I'm originally from India, and growing up in India, you're always taught that the guest is God. We have something in Sanskrit or in Hindi, we say Atithi Devo Bhava, which means, if I were to translate it in English, it means the guest is God. What does that mean? Is when we had guests come to our house as kids, I noticed how my parents would meticulously prepare for their arrival. We all had to be in our best behavior. The house was clean, food was cooked for them, and if we knew the guests that were coming, or even if we didn't know, there were efforts made to understand what they like, what they don't like. This way, when they came home, they felt at home. And for us as kids, we were taught the right etiquettes to make sure that we greet them and we don't stay past the time that we're required to be there. Or what we would say in these days, don't outstay your welcome, right? So very important to understand that, We were there to take care of them. They felt good about being in the environment. And that's when growing up, I realized that, it's important to have that quality of home away from home. And as kids traveling and staying in hotels, I found immense joy in walking into a pristine hotel where I saw uniforms, where people wore pristine uniforms. I remember this gentleman with the bow tie was the captain of a restaurant that I used to go to as a kid. And I always wondered, how is he dressed so well? His shoes were immaculately polished. He had the perfect shave. And also, when you walked into the dining room, everything was like symphony. It all kind of blended well. And you didn't really need to ask for anything. It felt like, you felt comfortable and at ease. And I, for one, felt extremely peaceful being in an environment where it felt like my needs were all being met. I was made to feel important as a kid. So it got ingrained in me that combining my belief as a child and how my parents made us feel and how they treated guests, and looking at how a professional hotel worked, I just felt like it was something that was made for me. And I always feel that hotel industry or what I do is not a job; it's what I love doing. And if you love what you do, then it becomes all the more enjoyable and all the more impactful.
That's such a beautiful way to look at things, and you mentioned it's like a symphony. Would you consider yourself the maestro of the symphony of the hotel?
I'd like to consider that, but I think it's a team sport. I always believe there's no I in a team. That's why you hire the right individuals who can collaborate with you and who understand what's up at stake. So, would I consider myself a maestro? More than a maestro, I would consider myself a quarterback for a team. I love sports, so I like to talk a lot of sports analogies. But it's about the quarterback and knowing when to throw the ball and who to throw it to, and let them roll with it. So I think I'm more like the instigator who believes in hiring the right talent and ensuring that we discuss our vision, we discuss the path, and we discuss our goals, and then we let them go with it. And I'm there just to guide them and give them a sense of direction when I feel like I'm required or I need to give it.
Can you think of a past success story where you had someone who you were mentoring and they started going down the wrong path, and you sat them down and gave them some words of wisdom, and then they came back to the light side, so to speak, and then flourished after that?
Well, I've been blessed, Brandon, in my career to be mentored by individuals. There are some individuals that I'm extremely thankful to for anything and everything I've accomplished in my career. One of them being Mrs. Maria Razumitsek. Maria is the vice president for the Peninsula Hotels in Chicago for North America. I would say that she took me as an infant in the business, and she made me a hardcore professional, because with her I learned what it is to excel, what it is to not take no for an answer, and what it is to really dig deeper and deeper till you get to where you want to be. And I'm very, very indebted to her. The other gentleman that comes to my mind is Alan Firstman, the founder and CEO for Montage Hotels, who has been an incredible influence for me in my career. He taught me, and he still teaches me, what it is to be humble, what it is to be resourceful, what it is to be patient, and what it is to be inquisitive. I learned a lot of business acumen and the ability to really think in any situation based on how I interacted with Alan and what I learned from him. The other gentleman that comes to my mind is Peter Bora, who's the CEO of the Peninsula Hotels, who, along with Maria, were very influential in shaping me. And I have a long way to go. And I believe that as a human being, you're constantly learning every day. And through them, I've also learned that there's a learning in everybody. So I tend to learn from every single individual on my team on a daily basis. And that's what helps me get better every day. Learning is something that never stops. And having joined the Corinthia, you asked me an earlier question, why? But having studied more about the Corinthia, when I read more about our managing director, Simon Naudi, or our chairman, Mr. Pisani, of how relentless they were, where they took such a small property and a company from Malta, and they've made it where what it is today. And through their lens, they've given us the confidence to build on what we believe in building and doing, and we continue to grow. And hence, Corinthia is now looking at another 6 to 8 properties coming globally within the next 3 to 4 years. But to your other question about who I've mentored, I mean, these were the individuals who I believe have shaped my career. But I also look at individuals that I've been fortunate enough to help and guide. I've been individuals that have the hunger and the thirst to grow. I've been fortunate enough to work with them, guide them when they've been wrong. And I think a good mentor is somebody who's very honest. There's what's called transparency. You cannot be a good mentor or a guide by not being honest and being transparent. So I think there are individuals, and when they listen to this podcast, they know who they are, who have been driven, and they've always wondered why they've been driven a certain way. But eventually, we've had numerous conversations, and they've all gone on to do bigger and better things in their careers. And then they realize the indelible value of being thorough, being prepared, and being honest. So yeah, there are a lot of individuals, but overall, I would say that I've been blessed to work with individuals who have had enough trust and respect for me, for them to come and seek my guidance, and also not work with me in just one hotel, but a few hotels. And they followed me in different hotels. So again, this goes back to the great people I've learned from, and I continue to learn from, and what I've adapted from them, and I continue to take it forward.
I love the fact that you're so humble that you're still learning to this day.
Absolutely. Learning never ends, Brandon. Learning is there every single day.
I had a teacher in high school, a history teacher in high school, who had a quote that I still remember to this day. He would say, "We learn from womb to tomb."
That's correct. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And, that made me think of that. But you have to have that mindset of you're still learning, or else you'll get hard-headed and won't grow and stop growing. So I commend you for that.
The day you feel like you've done it all and you know it all, that's the day that your learning stops. And that's the day that you put a restriction on yourself to do something or explore the boundaries which probably have not been explored yet. So you've got to continue to push yourself.
Tell me another great story you have about customer service where you've gone above and beyond for one of your guests and they were just mind blown. I'm sure you have a treasure trove full of them, but what are some of your favorites?
Yeah, it's such a good question. You might think it's a very simple answer, but then you start replaying the past 25 years of your life. And then so one thing that comes to my mind, I mean, there've been a lot of great opportunities and instances where we have done some incredible things for our guests. And when I say guests, it's also with our internal and external guests, be it employees, our internal guests, and our paying guests, our external guests. But we've had instances where one thing that comes to my mind, which I feel very good about, is a while ago when I worked in the property in Chicago, the Peninsula, we had a particular guest who we had from another hotel. He gave us a try. Then he started coming often because we were very friendly, and we were very much passionate about what he wanted, and that was the ethos: is treat every guest like they're the most important thing. And this particular guest had a dog, and we went to the extent of knowing what, obviously, the name of his dog, but we went to the extent of knowing what are the dog's likes and dislikes, what kind of food does he like to eat, is there any special preparation for that particular food? And it was incredible, Brandon, because with this dog, this guest ended up staying every single weekend. He used to come in on a Friday, leave on a Sunday night with the dog. The dog became like a family member in the hotel. And the dog had a particular way of the chicken that had to be cooked. It was an organic chicken breast, which had to be steamed and lightly sauteed in olive oil, right? With some fresh black Kalamata olives that were thinly sliced. And and it had to have a little bit of the chicken stock. No onion, no parsley, nothing, very light on salt, and no pepper. And the dog only drank Evian water. So we had a nice bottle of Evian. At one point, we started labeling the Evian with the dog's name. So what that did was, obviously, when we knew this guest was coming, an hour before the guest checked in, our chefs, our amazing chefs, started cooking the food. They had the food made, and when the guest checked into the front desk and they were on the elevator going up, we actually called the guests when they were checking in, saying, "What time would you like the food to be delivered?" And the guests typically wanted the food ready when they arrived because they had to come 3 hours to get to the hotel. So every time this guest checked in, the food was there for them. And this guest was so thankful, and they felt the sense of recognition, because what mattered to them, they didn't have kids back then, but the dog was their world, and they felt like we were going above and beyond, and we're making the extra efforts to take care of something that mattered to them the most. So we paid that amazing amount of respect to the dog, and this guest became a guest for life. And this guest became a friend to whom I still talk to this date, although I've been out of the property for the past 15 years now.
That's incredible. I'm a huge dog lover, so I really appreciate that. If you take care of my dog, you're taking care of me. So
absolutely, and you're going to have that at the Surrey when you come here as well, Brandon. We'll get to know you. We'll get to know your family.
That's great. Tell me about your vision for the Surrey. Describe to me the picture of what you're trying to create there, and what it's going to mean in the landscape of New York City.
Well, see, the few ways I'd like to answer this, right? In terms of, the vision is obviously to make it one of the finest hotels, not just New York, but also North America. We're fortunate that we have an amazing management team in the Corinthia Hotels, and we have a very invested ownership group. And the owners are very much driven by our vision, and they're very supportive of where we want to take this property, which we're very appreciative of. But I personally, value diversity. I think you can achieve excellence by being a bit vulnerable to the facts that what are the unknowns out there. So that starts with recruiting the right individuals, building a culture of a can-do approach with positive mindset, or as Dr. Stephen Covey would say, sharpening the saw, right? So it's all about sharpening the saw in terms of ensuring that you're looking at the big picture and you're planning ahead, because this is a story to tell. And I tell the team here every day that we're not in a 100-meter sprint. We are here to run a marathon, and that's how we look at it. From a vision standpoint, obviously, it is to make this one of the finest hotels, which will be primarily driven by very thoughtful, very personalized service with a lot of humility. Our vision is to get to know every single guest before they walk into the doors, and while they're there, to make sure that they feel comfortable enough to recommend us to their friends and want to come back. In fact, there's a saying, there's a quote that it's been playing in my head. I'm speaking to. We want to phrase this as, you come as a guest, but you leave as a friend. So it's a pretty impactful statement to say. And that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish, because we will be ultra luxury. We want guests to feel the sense of luxury. And again, luxury to me is not about the things that you can see. It's about the indelibles. It's about how do we make you feel when you walk into the door? What is your experience? Can you wait not to come back to the hotel? So there will be zero probability that a guest would come in and not feel the sense of luxury or not feeling touched by any member of our staff or our leadership team, because we're all invested in the same vision. That is to do what it takes to make this one of the finest hotels and do the right thing with the right principles and integrity in mind. Because I think that's what builds loyalty, that's what will build trust, and that's what will build more confidence in the brand as a whole. Because like I said earlier, this is, for Corinthia Hotels, this is our first foray in the United States, and we are so excited about this. And we obviously want to leverage from the fact that this is the hotel that's going to really makes the Corinthia an amazing brand, and a brand that everybody will speak about in the United States. It already is an exceptional brand, but my team and I get the unique opportunity to tell the story of the Corinthia to a broader market in the United States.
That's a lot of responsibility, but an exciting type of responsibility.
It is, yeah. It's a responsibility that it gives me a lot of excitement. It gives the team here a sense of purpose, and it clearly gives us a lot of responsibility to deliver excellence, because this is what we believe in.
So how is the Surrey going to be different than the other luxury hotels in New York?
Well, look, New York is blessed with some amazing hotels, a lot of brands. A lot of us are competing pretty much for the same piece of the pie. But I think it's important to know what are the scales with which you're competing. Where Surrey will be different is, it's not a cliche statement to say that our service, we'll definitely, we believe in being very humble. We believe in definitely personalizing our service levels and our interaction levels with the guests and with the local community. We will be a hotel that's not just the Surrey in the Upper East Side. We will be part of the Upper East Side community. We've made a lot of strides, and we've built some amazing relationships already with our art galleries, with the greater business district of Madison Avenue, with a lot of retail stores, with a lot of individuals that have lived in the Upper East Side for many generations, with certain charities that we believe are very impactful, not just in the Upper East Side, but also like the Central Park Conservancy is one example, to name a few, but there are other areas as well. But it's also in the product. My director of sales and marketing, and I call him my partner in crime, Brad Simmons, and I have always been speaking about how do we position this hotel. I'll tell you this trivia, but the Surrey as a building will celebrate its 100th year come 2026. So it is the oldest asset in the Upper East Side. which is a very lesser known fact, but we wish to actually glorify that fact. So our positioning also is it's an icon reimagined, because the Surrey, is it an icon? Yes. But everything that you will see inside is reimagined. It is fresh. And I joke with a lot of our travel agent partners and a lot of guests. I say that, it's the oldest product with the freshest rooms. Because everything that you will see on the inside is new. It's reimagined. And part of that reimagination, Brandon, is our incredible theme suites. We're going to have 4 theme suites. Our designer, our designer is Martin Broditsky, and the design team had an amazing idea of how do we be true to ourselves, how do we stay true to ourselves by being part of the community while also telling an amazing story. We're a block away from Central Park, and we felt like it would be amazing to amplify our 4 theme suites with the themes of Central Park bridges, because the bridges in Central Park are so near, dear, and special to the local residents, and also to a lot of guests because they can associate with them when they walk there. So our themes, the 4 theme suites we're going to have, are named after these bridges, which obviously, once you come and experience it, you'll see the value of it. There's also certain service intricacies that we've added, like butler on demand and things like that, where you as a guest feel like all your needs are being taken care of. And more importantly, I keep harping on this, is that we will have staff, our colleagues, and our leadership team that will be very engaged with every single guest, right from the time that they arrive to the time they depart and to the time that we welcome them back. So the journey continues. It'll not stop when you leave the hotel. It'll continue on an ongoing basis.
Do you have any fun technology pieces that are going to be implemented in the hotel? Anything like that?
Well, we do have a lot of key technological features in the hotel, but more to follow once we open the hotel. I don't want to break all the surprise right now. Some good elements of surprise.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go back to your education. Tell me how that's played a part in your leadership style.
Well, again, I'm blessed to have educated initial education in India, then study in Switzerland, in Europe, and then also pursue some higher degrees with the likes of the Cornell Hotel School, and also some programs with the Harvard Business School that I've done. I think, like I said, learning never stops. And this is not the last program that I've done. I'll be continuing my paths to learn more. But what it's really taught me is to be creative, to be a more impactful leader, and to think differently. Because, we are in an age, Brandon, and the world is moving at such a fast pace that one has to adapt, and one has to be quick to respond. So, what these different experiences, especially the education, has taught me is to expose myself not just to the educational side of it, but it's also to the cultural side of it. Because through these classroom sessions and the sessions that I've done, I've also it's been a pleasure to interact with so many different individuals from different walks of life, from different cultures, different nationalities, and different beliefs. So I've really learned from hearing them speak. I've learned from hearing them share their experiences, and also kind of understand their perspective. So what I've done is I like to observe a lot. I'm very patient, and this is again something I've developed over the years. But what I've done is I've taken those, and I've been able to adapt my way of thinking, or my way of executing, or even my leadership into all my areas that I've had to work with. So it's really helped me, respect the culture, relate to our colleagues and guests, uh, in a way that the colleagues and guests understand better, and they find the joy of being at the hotel or being around in an environment where they become friends in the long run. And I got to tell you, a lot of my really close friends in my life now are individuals that I've met through the industry who initially were guests, and over the years and over time, they've become really amazing friends that I still value a lot, and their feelings are mutual.
Yeah, it sounds like you take kind of the best ideas from this diverse background and embrace those.
And I think I embrace it, and I also put it in perspective to think about what are my learnings and what is it that I know and what am I seeing on the other side, and how can I combine the two if I need to in different situations? Because as you might know, every situation is different. Every level of exposure is different. It's about how do you adapt to it, and there's no better way to learn than from people around you or people that you are with or you interact with on a daily basis. So it comes back to my earlier statement of learning never stops.
Yes. Tell me about a time you had a big adversity that you had to overcome.
There've been a couple. There've been a few in my career. I think it helped me really be strong because I have a lovely family. I'm blessed to have a great married life and a great daughter as well. I've found strength from all of them. There was a time where the economic crisis happened, and obviously 2008 went through that. And this is where good leadership comes in. I was blessed to work with the likes of Maria Zeck and everyone who really instilled that confidence in a young leader to say, it's okay to feel vulnerable, but do the right thing. And back when I started my career, and I thought it was great initially. I ran into some troubles because I was in between getting my visa and everything else, and that had me stay home for about 3 or 4 months while the visa was getting processed, and I didn't want to waste my time. So I went back to India, and I decided to learn German there. So I enrolled in a German school, and it was potentially you could see it as an adverse situation because your career was put on hold because of something you could not control. But then I also thought that it gives me an opportunity to go and spend time with my mom and dad, but at the same time, learn something new. So I decided, you know what? I'm an international hotelier. At some point, if I can even speak 4 sentences of German, it would help. So I enrolled in the German school there, and I learned German for about 5 months. And it was good. It was fun. And I tried that German with some of my friends who are German or the Swiss Germans or some guests, and it was fun. Not that I don't make a mistake, but at least they appreciate the fact that I'm trying something different. So that to me was how do you take adversity and give it a positive spin? So it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's always two sides to a coin, and it's really how you look at things. What drives you, Pradeep? What makes you want to be the best?
I think it's willpower. Um, I hold myself in high regard. I'm very honest about who I am. Um, and I like to stay grounded, and this goes back to my upbringing. I never want to be the person who knows it all, but I want to surround myself with individuals who I know will support me when I need their help. Um, but I think what drives me every day is the ability and the desire to be the best representation of myself. Um, Now, what does that mean? Is as it relates to this particular project, the Corinthia Hotel Group and the owners have all the trust in somebody like me to launch this property and the brand in the best way possible. That can show integrity, that can really instill the sense of confidence in the brand and in the property. So that drives me every day, and I appreciate the fact that there's that element of trust, the respect, and giving me an ability to express myself uh, and hire the right people who I know will work with me on repaying the trust that the Corinthia Hotels has or the owners have in us to do the right thing and represent everybody in the best way possible. So, did I answer your question?
Yes. And the follow-up question to that is, how do you make that mindset contagious?
It's about being genuine. You can't fake this. It has to come from within. And what we do here is at our pre-opening offices, we go through our Corinthia brand book, but we talk about every single day. We share our life experiences. We talk about what this means to every single individual. And I'm typically the last person to speak because I want the team to express themselves. So everybody takes it upon themselves to read through our core values and talk about what it means to them. It's about feeling the sense of being inclusive. And I think in a team environment, Brandon, you want to get to a point where if your team feels the sense of being inclusive, then they feel respected and they feel that they are part of the process and they own the process because there is that element of giving them the autonomy to speak up and do things, and it keeps them happy and motivated.
It's a trust thing.
Sorry?
It's a trust thing.
It is, yeah. And I found that the team members that I have incredible amount of trust and they have a lot of joy in coming into work. The other day, my assistant director of finance was telling me, Pradeep, I can't wait to come to the office and go through the briefing and talk about what I did last week. So I think it makes me very happy because I know that we are at a point where the key leaders that are on the team are happy about expressing themselves, are happy about coming into work, because I know for a fact that these team members are going to take the same passion and energy to their teams and inspire them to come into work and do the best that can be done and be the best representations of themselves.
Any closing thoughts for today?
Well, I would say that, I've been asked a lot of times, what is the current generation like? I'm not that old, but from an industry standpoint, I think when you spend over 25 years in the industry, you are considered more like, okay, you've spent some time. So for the up and coming hoteliers or the young hoteliers or the new hoteliers that are coming, all I would say is that, be patient, um, listen carefully, because I think good leaders are the ones that have the ability to listen, have the ability to really give people their space, like I've been given by my mentors. Be very humble. It doesn't matter what position and titles you have in the hotel industry. At the end of the day, you're here to take care of the guests, take care of the employees, return the trust that your management company and owners have in you, and you're here to really do the right thing, right? So I would say learn every day, and have mentors, because I cannot tell you how important and valuable it has been for me, because these are the individuals that even till this date, when I'm at a crossroad, I have no qualms about picking the phone and speaking with them. and seeking the guidance. And the great thing is, no matter how busy they are, they have the time to talk to me. And I make it a point to do that with individuals that consider me a mentor. And I would like to say that to anybody that's going to listen to this podcast and that wants to be a hotelier, that being successful is all about giving back. It's all about being humble, being patient, being respectful, and doing good for others. In terms of, and how can we do good for others, is be impactful to a point to any individual by any deeds or actions where they feel that you've done or you've impacted them in a positive way. That's what I would say, Raman.
They do say you get what you give. So
Exactly. Yes. Yes. You could say that.
beautiful. Well, Pradeep, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a joy speaking with you. I can tell you're going to have a great opening, and that's going to flourish and be a bright beacon for the Corinthia Hotels in North America.
Appreciate it, Brandon. Thank you so much for taking the time as well. And I look forward to welcoming you to the Corinthia sometime in the future.
I can't wait.
All right. Take care, Brandon.
Thank you. Bye.